morning to you, and welcome back to today's JRPG Weekly Update. I'm SuperDerek, and guys, we've got quite a bit of news to get through today, so let's just dive in here, starting off with this bit about Lost Soul Aside. After a decade in development, Ultizero Games with Sony Publishing have finally released Lost Soul Aside back on, today's date, August 29 for PS5 and PC. This stylish action RPG mixes high-speed Devil May Cry style combat with cinematic storytelling where the protagonist, Kaiser, teams up with his shape-shifting dragon companion, Arena. A free demo for the game featuring 2 boss battles has also landed on PlayStation 5 and PC. Unfortunately, though, reviews are coming in mixed to poor. On Steam, the game currently sits around 40 to 45% positive reviews at this time, and Metacritic shows a similar mid-40s range. Criticisms of the game currently focus on a thin and generic story, shallow character writing, they say, and confusing dialogue. Technical problems, especially poor PC optimization and frequent stutters, are also dragging down reception. Still, combat is praised as being flashy, responsive, and fun. Now, fans are pretty thrilled that the game finally exists after so long, but many PC players are frustrated by the performance issues and the generic story beats. Some console players are having a smoother experience though, and most agree that the combat system is a standout. So my question for you guys, I haven't had a chance to get hands-on with the game, but have you had a chance to try the demo or the full release? And do you think that the gameplay outweighs the criticisms that are being levied against it, or should we give this one a pass for a while? Moving on to this week's weekly roundup, Ys Memoire Revelations in Celceta have been announced by Xseed Games and Marvelous. This enhanced edition of Ys Memories of Celceta is coming west in early 2026. This version modernizes Falcom's sprawling forest exploration RPG with updated visuals, quality of life tweaks, and Switch-exclusive physical additions. Quality of life highlights include a new high-speed mode and improved map functionality to make exploration smoother. Ys fans are generally pretty glad to see Celceta preserved with modern features, though some wish it was coming out sooner. The planned physical release on Nintendo Switch is earning high praise from collectors, though. Next up, MediaVision and Bandai Namco have confirmed an October 3rd, 2025 launch for this new turn-based Digimon RPG, Digimon Story Time Stranger. Coming out on PlayStation 5, the Xbox Series, and PC. The story is going to take players to a fractured timeline where tamers and Digimon confront a mysterious calamity across multiple eras. It seems like Digimon fans generally at this point are pretty excited about the darker tone and fresh story of the game. Some are cautious though, offering mixed feelings about past entries, but overall response is pretty positive. And what this has me thinking about is like, what if Pokémon were to take a feather out of the cap here for its next release? Something a little darker, something a little more, I don't know, Pokémon XD Gale of Darkness-ish, I think we're kind of overdue for a follow-up on that. What do you guys think? After that, Square Enix and Red Art Games confirmed the December 9, 2025 international release of Romancing Saga Minstrel Song. The remaster retains the non-linear storytelling and multiple protagonist paths of the 2005 original, but this time with enhanced visuals and an orchestral arrangement. And it sounds like fans in general are just excited the fact that this is going to be a physical release in tandem with Red Art Games, and the buzz is generally happy, though some newcomers still feel intimidated by SaGa's reputation for complexity, which I do totally kind of understand. Next up, Koei Tecmo have opened digital pre-orders the week ahead of the September 26th launch of Atelier Resleriana, the Red Alchemist, and the White Guardian. This entry follows twin protagonists as they unravel the mystery of a world where alchemy has vanished, featuring turn-based combat, resource gathering, and, of course, town-building systems and crafting. This week, NIS America and Granzilla previewed a new trailer promising a release date reveal in late September for R-Type Tactics 1 and 2 Cosmos. This 2-game strategy collection revives the PSP tactical spin-offs of the iconic R-Type arcade shooter series. R-Type itself began back in 1987 as a side-scrolling space shooter famous for its challenging gameplay and iconic biomechanical enemy designs, but the Tactics spin-off have shifted the action into a grid-based mecha strategy format. Now, the strategy and mecha fans are generally cautiously optimistic here, excited to see more, but they want more concrete release info after multiple delays, so, Hypersponsibly. Idea Factory International have delayed the PS4 collection of Hyperdimension Neptunia ReBirth Trilogy to October of 2028 from September 30th. Due to manufacturing issues, they say. This trilogy remasters the first 3 Neptunia games with updated visuals and balance changes, offering fans a chance to revisit the satirical console war adventures. Neptunia fans are a little bit disappointed, and that's kind of understandable at this point, but hey, it is only a short delay, and I think overall sentiment here remains pretty strong. Speaking of strong sentiment among fans, Expedition 33 director Johan Vincent revealed that the newly released Clair Obscur Expedition 33 is just the start of a planned franchise. The series blends painterly visuals with sort of an active style combat system where you have to stay engaged and press buttons, and along with what's happening on the screen, kind of like Legend of Dragoon or Shadow Hearts, and the devs have confirmed another entry is already in the works. Players are surprised, but pleased, and I'm very pleased as well because I'm still playing Clair Obscur Expedition 33. Smilegate have announced that it will be debuting 2 new RPGs at Tokyo Game Show 2025. Chaos Zero Nightmare, a collectible roguelike with over 1 million pre-registrations, and Miracy Invisible Future, which is a fantasy adventure with narrative depth, they say. Not much chatter about this one so far outside of niche circles, but Korean RPG fans are pretty curious about Chaos Zero, especially given the pre-registration numbers, which is pretty nuts. We do have a delay though I should tell you guys about, because Demonschool, Necrosoft's Persona-inspired strategy RPG, has been pushed back to November 19 of 2025, moving away from Silksong's September 4 launch. I suspect that may have also played a role in some other delays and shifting of schedules. The game is going to be mixing a grid-based tactical combat system with a daily life schedule, monster hunting, and occult mystery. Kind of like if Persona 2 and 1 had continued on as they were instead of pivoting incredibly so during the shift to Persona 3. Obviously, fans are going to be disappointed by this delay, but it's widely agreed that it's probably a smart move. And I don't think anybody wants to be overshadowed by Silksong. Honkai Nexus Anima was announced as a creature collector adventure strategy game in the Honkai universe, or the HoYoverse. Players will be taming and bonding with creatures called Animus, form parties, and battle using tactical combat reminiscent of a mix between maybe Pokémon and strategy RPGs. Closed beta signups are live through September 12. The Honkai Genshin fanbase are very excited about this. Some JRPG fans are wary though of HoYoverse's gacha systems, myself included, but the whole creature collector with strategy combat angle has piqued the curiosity of a lot of people, including myself. I'm kind of morbidly curious. I mean, it's HoYo. Like, they made Genshin. Could you imagine a strategy RPG getting that level of excitement? I mean, we'll see, right? A rising tide raises all boats, and hopefully when new people join the ranks of strategy RPG and JRPG fandoms, maybe we can just, encourage them away from those gacha things, and maybe they can spend their microtransaction money on things like indie RPGs instead. Maybe. I mean, what do I know? And next up, I wanted to talk about some of the critical reception of some games that released recently, including Quartet from Something Classic Games on PC. That launched on my birthday. This is a retro-inspired JRPG. It holds an 87 on Metacritic so far. It intertwines 4 unique character arcs across a shared world, blends classic turn-based combat with modern polish, and incredible visuals and music. A heavy emphasis on the music. Tyler Meir is an incredible composer. Seems like so far, generally, players are impressed and are calling it one of the best retro-style RPGs in years. And word of mouth on this one is very strong. It actually hit the front page of Reddit's gaming subreddit the other day, which is kind of impressive, mostly owing to its option to enable or disable the Oxford comma, but still, it's a good showing, and it's quickly becoming a community favorite, especially over here. Baku and I will be interviewing the developers of Quartet this Sunday night over on our live podcast, Hit Point, the JRPG podcast. It's a news podcast, community podcast. It's kind of all over the place. We talk about anything and everything that catches our interest and or ire. We stream live every single Sunday at 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. We'll be previewing trailers, talking about rumors, and of course, interviewing the fellows over at Something Classic. Also last week, Furyu released VARLET, which launched on the 27th to mixed reviews, averaging in the low 60s on Metacritic, Players control a transfer student navigating supernatural battles in a high school setting with turn-based combat reminiscent of Persona. Critics say that the combat is stylish and the presentation are its high points with flashy attacks and animations and engaging team mechanics. However, the story is criticized as falling flat with underdeveloped characters, and some mechanics like social systems and dungeon pacing are seen as tedious and or broken. Players seem to be pretty split on the game. Some are really enjoying the battle system and the presentation, but others are frustrated by the story and mechanics. Have you had a chance to get hands-on with the game? And if so, where do you fall? Moving along, Serial World was announced this week, is a deck-building RPG where players loop through dreamlike worlds, collecting and raising anima creatures while battling through roguelike dungeons. Its unique hook is combining roguelike progression with anime-inspired storytelling. It seems like people are generally seeing this as relatively niche, but are generally positive so far about the idea, at least. Deck-building JRPG fans are enthusiastic, of course, and are intrigued by the concept. It's seen as a promising fresh twist on the genre. So, how do you feel about the idea of a roguelike deck-builder JRPG like Serial World? Do you prefer indies that stick closer to the classic formulas, or might this be one that could be up your alley? Shifting some gears, let's talk about some SuperDerek news over here in SuperDerek land. This week I released my video, First Impressions review of Quartet. It is a phenomenal game based off of my first impressions. I've only played a bit of each of the first chapters. I played through all of Alex's. It was a lot of fun. I think a lot of y'all are really gonna like it. It has a pretty standard turn-based RPG system, not too dissimilar from your standard like Dragon Quest. Except one of the main twists here is that your MP is constantly regenerating and your spells never get old. And oh my god, can I just say it again that the music by composer Tyler Meir, child prodigy Tyler Meir, is just so good. After that, I released a video that proved to be, well, pretty engaging for a lot of you guys at home, where I responded to sort of a Reddit thread in my own way about why it is that some people just can't connect with indie RPGs or with modern RPGs, and what has changed in the RPG sphere that has made it so that people are having a harder time. I think that it really comes down to a few different things. I'm not here to sell you anything like an easy answer, but there might be some tough answers in there for anybody who's curious or would like to give it a listen, type responsibly though, of course. Speaking of which, this week I plan on working on the $100 indie console, a concept that I've been kind of teasing around the channel and on Twitch for a little while now. I'm working on putting it together and putting it through some of its paces. I asked you guys last week in the community section for what you would like to see running on it and, what kind of features you wanted to have. And so I'll go ahead and extend that question to y'all here as well. What would you like to see running on the $100 indie console? Now, for clarity's sake, I'm not talking about making my own Ouya or whatever. This is going to be essentially a very small computer that functions very similarly to what you might expect out of a console version of a Steam Deck, but for a fraction of the cost of a real Steam Deck. I plan on making not just a video about, it doing its thing, but also how you might be able to make your own and, maybe even make yourself a pro model of the system, assuming that everything works out. So get subscribed so you don't miss it. Also, you might have seen me waving this thing around. This is something that I'm very proud to finally be able to showcase to you guys here. This is a tankard style clay mug made here locally by an artisan. They are not for sale yet. Maybe at some point. I was able to make a small batch. Right now they're not up for sale anywhere. I am planning to make them available to supporters of the show through Patreon, Twitch subscribers, and channel members here on YouTube. I'm trying to make it available to them first to get hands-on, because again, there's 35 of them right now, and I have one of them in my hands. So if you want one, just a heads up, you might not be able to get one from this first batch. Hopefully the proceeds of this first batch to supporters of the show will help fund follow-up runs. But just so you know, they're handcrafted, thrown by a real, local artist with clay, fired, lead-free, dishwasher-safe, oven-safe. It's stoneware. I cannot tell you how excited I am that it all came to fruition. This guy's been making stuff in town for the longest time. been a huge fan of his work since forever, and it's legitimately been like on my wish list of things to do for the last like 2-3 years, is to collaborate with this dude, and it's finally happening. So yeah, you can't have it yet, but I'll be sure to let you guys know when they become available, okay? Last week I skipped Metaphor Refantasio on Tuesday because of my birthday, but Throwback Thursdays are going strong with Dragon Quest VI. I just did a whole mess of gambling in order to get some endgame gear at level 12, so it's, classic Dragon Quest stuff, #just RPG things. And then Expedition 33 is happening later on this night, but last Friday it was a lot of fun. Had my butt handed to me several times by a sheep thing that I don't think I'm supposed to be fighting yet, so I think we're gonna do it tonight though. I think I'm feeling it. Latency issues be damned. Okay, let's move on to the JRPG Weekly forecast. Starting with September 4, we got Hollow Knight Silksong finally on Nintendo Switch, Switch 2, PS4, Xbox, PS5, and the Xbox Series and PC. This is the long-awaited Metroidvania sequel starring Hornet, expanding the original's exploration and combat system. Also, on September 4, we have Adventure of Samsara on PS5, the Xbox Series, PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC, which is a 2D action-adventure with RPG elements focused on reincarnation and puzzle platforming. And then on September 5th, we have Daemon X Machina, Titanic Scion. It's coming to Switch 2, PS5, the Xbox Series, and PC. This is a mecha action RPG where players will be piloting and customizing arsenals in fast-paced battles. And that about does it for today's show. If you enjoyed today's show, make sure you get subscribed so you'll see the other cool things that I've told you about that I'm planning, and I'll see you guys in the next one. But thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon with the $100 indie console.